Hey everybody, my name is Jennifer. This is Metatron speaking. Today I'm going to talk to you about the Mantids, who are a galactic group that look like, I don't know, they look like 8 foot tall praying mantises, to be really honest. It sounds wild. They're an amazing group. They are extremely loving. They are healers, they are wise, they are silly, they are a joy to spend time with. So I actually interacted with a new guide and then I interacted with an old guide. And so I want to kind of go over those experiences with you. So in the past, I have seen, and this was actually, now that I think about it, so the new Mantid guide that I have is not green, he's not silver, he's not gold. He's like this I don't know, lavender and bronze color. Like I know it's hard to describe. Lavender and bronze on the same creature. Um and the first time I saw this color pattern on a mantid, I was actually in a vision where I was meeting all these different galactic groups and like signing up for all of these new soul contracts. And so that was like last summer that this happened. And I remember I saw that the mantid and I was like, I didn't know they could be that color. And so I was totally curious and wanted to know more. And so now I get to know more. It's like almost a year later. Let's see. So the new guide's name is Laszlo. I asked to feel their energy, although as soon as they like came up, I'm like, I recognize you, I love you, I adore you, but let's do the thing. Show me your energy. Um, yeah. I know they have the same soul as one of my other guides because it's hard to explain. So when they came up, I was like, oh, I know I love you. I know you're gonna be one of like three guides, basically. Basically, they're gonna end up being um like an archangel Metatron incarnation. They're going to end up being an archangel Raphael incarnation, or they're going to end up being an archangel Michael incarnation. Because those are like, those are the ones that love being around. Those are the ones I've really chosen to work with in this lifetime. So I end up finding out that this new guide Laszlo is basically an archangel Raphael duplicate. Um, Their energy had strong, like, divine feminine components, like, it felt like feminine energy, even though they were presenting with masculine energy originally. I am told that this version of the mantis race can be found on Elnath along with the golden mantids. So there are two, in case you guys care, there are two mantid planets. Sorry, I geek out on this stuff. I get excited. Um, Aldebaran. So both of these are in the Taurus constellation in our galaxy. Aldebaran is where the green mantids are and the silver mantids are. Sorry, my hand moved because he was verifying with me. So now you can see all my weird movements. And then Elnath is where the golden ones are. And then apparently also there are some like multicolored ones there. I'm not sure how many different kinds. This is what I know. So I'm like trying to interact with this guide and I got dizzy and it felt like a ring of equipment was placed around the top part of my head. So this guide, because of what a high vibration they are, they're like seventh dimensional, and I'm clearly 3D. Um, they were giving me a basically like a temporary divine implant to assist me with being able to reach their vibration. Because they're up here, I'm down here, and I'm like, if I can't reach the same vibration as them, I can't communicate. I can see them, but I can't talk to them. So let's see. So it made me a little lightheaded because I'm not used to that altitude. Asked Laszlo if he can make it more comfortable. He said it takes time to adjust to the frequency. And I'm like, it's very uncomfortable. I'm like complaining. I realized that just being near his energy is doing something to my heart chakra. I feel subtle healing. It is a gentle pull at my heart chakra as he was pulling trauma out of me. I can feel real gently. Things that aren't supposed to be in there being pulled out. And he's just like hanging out near me, but I think he's like smiling at me, and then his hand is like being sneaky and pulling trauma out. I try to ignore all these distractions because I'm like, I really just want to know what the message is. Like, don't do healing, let's talk. Mantid coloring is tied into their energy. So like the green mantids are like the lowest vibration. And I hate to say that because I freaking love the green mantids. So I don't want to say anything bad about them. But that's like the lowest vibration. And then as they evolve and ascend on their journey, they may become silver. And then as they really ascend, they may turn gold. So Laszlo shows me that his color can be achieved when the vibration and knowledge is somewhere between silver and gold. Laszlo is working on both sides of my arms, between my wrists and elbows. I'm just documenting what was happening, so I don't know what the relevance was. He says, I am attuning you to my energy. And I'm like, your healing energy? Because mantids are healers, and he's working on my forearm, which is part of your like healing apparatus. Anything from your heart chakra through to your palm. That's how we heal. That's where healing energy moves through. So I'm like, are you tuning me to healing energy? And he says, yes. I can feel something happening in the center of my palms now, too. And so this is what he says. Like the other mantids, we use threads that correspond to our frequency and body color to heal with. And I'm going to use the word hands like 20 times in this conversation. Mantids don't have hands. I have hands. Mantids have like, I don't know, their appendage kind of goes into like a little point. I'm going to call them hands because I don't know what to call them. Let's go back to what I was talking about. Let's see. So he says we use our hands, whatever these are, to weave these into chakras. And so I've seen this before where there's like these threads. So if it's a golden mantid, it's a golden thread. If it's a silver mantid, it's a silver thread. So I guess his threads are bronze and lavender, basically. But they use their little hands and they move really fast. And they're weaving, they're putting stuff in the chakra. It's kind of cool to watch. Let's see. He says the healing of my frequency corresponds to overcoming obstacles. So this is like when he is putting his energy in a chakra, this is what it supports. Overcoming obstacles, perseverance, motivation, stability, intuition, and divinity. I'm shown two opposite energies. A grounding, stable force is present because of the bronze color, and also like this etheric, flowing, uplifting, divine energy from the lavender color. These are both present in the healing of emotions. Laszlo says this is a good mixture of energy for manifesting divine into the physical. It brings balance and power to each chakra. This is being placed into, I'm going to say some weird stuff, guys, and I will try to explain. I don't remember most of the stuff I say because when I am channeling, when I'm having visions and I'm channeling, I'm in a different state of consciousness. So even though I'm like I probably look reasonably normal, I probably just look like I'm staring off at nothing and daydreaming. My consciousness is in a totally different place, and it just messes up the ability to be able to remember the experience. It's like dreaming. Okay, so let's see. So he took his energy. This is being placed into a chakra in my head that I was not aware of. So here's your third eye. So opposite your third eye, back here, I can feel them doing work. Laszlo says this is the back third eye chakra, which makes sense once he said it. I've never actually had anyone touch it. So you have major chakras within your physical body, not all of the major ones, but all of the major ones from your third eye, your throat, your heart, your solar plexus, down to your sacral. So from orange to indigo, you have a front side of the chakra, which is on the front side of your body, and you have a, quote, back side of the chakra, which is on the back side of your body. The front side of your body is associated, or the front side of your chakras, the major ones, is associated with how you project or give out that energy. So, like your heart, for example, this is how you give love. The back side of the chakra is how you receive love. So that kind of gives you an idea of how the front and back sides of the chakras work. Let's see. For the third eye, the front is how you see images for clairvoyance, but the back side of the chakra determines the clarity of our perception. Laszlo works on the back part of the chakra to improve the fine details that I'm able to perceive. He moves to the back of my, and then so he keeps moving around. Totally forgot about this. He moved to the back of my throat chakra. This will impact how I view others' opinions of who I am in a physical or ego sense. I don't even know what I wrote down, guys. So he's working on the back of my throat chakra. In the back heart chakra, he places his energies to support me feeling loved. And this is like a major wound that I've been aware of in this lifetime the whole time. So anytime they can help me with my heart chakra, I'm like, yes, please. It's broken. Let's see. Oh, when he was working on it, I was like, man, this is such a big wound. I wonder if he's just going to work on this and it's just going to like fix it forever. It's just me hoping and wishing. When he started working on my back sacral chakra, I had like a really strong reaction, which I was not expecting. This is the place on this chakra that allows us to perceive pleasure and receive creative inspiration. This is where we develop an opinion of our own soul. When he started working on it, it felt weak, and I was like, oh, didn't realize I had a problem there. I did not sense the weakness until he started working on it. And he told me, he's like, you know what? This is from past lifetimes with sexual assault. It caused damage to there, and so that's what he was working on. And so that's also a large wound that I've been aware of that I am trying to clear out for this lifetime. So after this, my golden mantid guide steps forward. So I'm like, I talked to Laszlo for like 2 seconds. He works because they always work on me. My golden mantid guide, his name is Gideon, but I call him Geo. He's technically Master Geo or Master Gideon because he is an ascended master. Like, we aren't aware of galactic ascended masters, but my goodness, they exist. So he is a Mantid ascended master. So Master Geo, he has his soul energy is like ultra similar to Jesus or Yeshua. They are the same soul, different bodies, different experiences. No one's ever verified for me. No one's verified, none of my guides have verified this for me, but I'll tell you what. The energy of Jesus, that Christ consciousness energy that he brought to earth, I don't know how to put it into words. He goes to many planets. I don't know if he goes to all of them. I know he has gone to many planets in that same capacity and left the same. I'm not going to say the same. He's left a beautiful, wonderful mark on the planet from his lifetimes on these other planets in that capacity with the Christ consciousness. So Master Geo is one of those lifetimes. So he was a Mantid, but he was acting in the capacity of Jesus, essentially, or the Christ consciousness. So anyways, sorry, went off on a tangent. I was like, Metatron, will you verify this for me? And he's like, all being quiet. Okay, so let's see. So Master Geo. Okay, so he comes in, he touches my solar plexus. So I know it's him because I'm like, oh my gosh, it's you. It's wonderful. You touch my solar plexus. He begins working on minor chakras that I did not know existed. So I don't have names for these chakras, but I'm going to tell you where they are because guess what? This is eventually going to come up into the collective consciousness, or they wouldn't be showing it to me. Small chakras to the right and left side of my head. I don't remember this. Let me think about this. To the right and left side of my head at the level of my cheeks. It was in front. Okay, so we have chakras like right here. So a couple inches in front of your cheeks, right and left side. He is opening these for the first time. These chakras are used to perceive deeper understanding of intuitive information. So basically, they're just like, give me a bunch of upgrades. Master Geo weaves his gold threads into these chakras, making them strong, protected, and connected with divine energy. So now he starts working on, and these ones I am aware of. So you have a third eye chakra. You have 3 third eyes. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. You got 3 of them here. So this one is the main one, and these 2 are supporting chakras. So he was putting energy in those as well. In front of my throat, on the right and left of the throat chakra, are also minor chakras. These have never been opened on me, so he opens them and clears them. This will support additional divine energy being added to my speaking voice. I see Master Geo work on the palm side of my wrist, a couple inches outside of the physical body on both the right. And so this is hard to describe. It's like right here, but both of my fingers. It's like that. It's like that. Like one here, one here. Right side and left side of the wrist, but in front of the wrist. So he's doing that on both my hands to support healing capabilities. A couple inches below my collarbone and in front of my body on the right and the left. He opens these up and they support the heart chakra. And then back to the arm on the other side, on the top side, right and the left of the wrist. He opens these. So, I mean, in case you didn't realize it, our energy bodies are a really beautiful constellation of thousands of major and minor chakras. So, everyone thinks of chakras as being like, okay, we've got this straight line of chakras. Well, yes. We've also got these things out here in the front, and these things above us, and these things behind us. And we don't think of them because it's not where our physical body is, but your energy body is bigger than your physical body. Your energy body is like this, and your physical body's like, dink, sitting in the middle of it all. So keep that in mind, in case you didn't know. Geo said, I love you in the middle of this, which is like, it's cool that I can hear him. So he says, I love you. And he's opening up okay, there was a circle of chakras like this. I guess that's not a circle. I guess that's kind of an oval. But it was open up all around my face, forehead to chin. Kind of felt cool. Let me see if I wrote anything else about it. The energy is a bit strong for me. I see an aura projected into my 3D vision in the shape of a circle. That was weird. So he's working on this circle of chakras that we have on our face that nobody knows about, apparently. If you do know about it, tell me what it's called. I'm happy to learn more. I didn't have time to tune into like every single thing about this. But there's a circle chakra, and then it was messing up my physical vision because they're messing around with all this stuff that allows intuitive information to come in. And I was getting more of it than I normally do, and it was overloading my system. So I was starting to see a circle, like a physical circle with my own eyes. I was able to see a circle projected onto my reality. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot. But, I'm not too worried about it. So I let them do their thing. Geo says you will adjust to this new access over the next few days. I noticed he did the tops of my shoulders too. And I told him, I'm like, this is a lot. Like, they just kept going. And he says, yes, more than we have ever done for you at one time before. It will improve the messages you can receive. It will increase the power in your written words, spoken words, and magic. It will allow you to see more detail consistently in your visions. There are some wounds in you that we are healing, partially, but with a noticeable difference for you. We could only heal these because you have allowed yourself to feel those hurts. There is still more emotion left to feel in these wounds, and when you process those layers, we will heal them too. He touches me like right here, with his hand, with his finger, with whatever this is that he has. And it actually, he's an energy body, I'm an energy body. He goes through my physical body just a little bit. He probably goes like about an inch into my body in order to touch something in there. I see him touching other tiny chakras in the head. And so once he does this, and whatever he's touched with his energy has given me access to information I can't normally see. And so all of a sudden, it's like my head is clear, and I can see all the energy, all the chakras in a physical head of somebody. So it looks like there are hundreds of tiny, tiny, tiny chakras in there, intricately placed like geometric highways. It is a delicate and beautiful arrangement, breathtaking and powerful, a masterpiece of a design. Like, there's no way for me to describe what it looked like, but it was like perfection. It was like, man, whoever did this is like perfect, like too perfect. Not all of mine are open because, my God, what would happen if they were all open? So not all of my chakras are open, but they show me what it looks like when all of them are. And it's like one of those things where you want to cry because they showed me all of them open and they were all glowing, and it was like the most glorious piece of art. I don't even know how to describe it. It creates portals inside the mind. So when all of your chakras are open, which none of them, it's not going to happen in this lifetime. I'm going to keep it real. None of us are going to have those all open in this lifetime. But the goal of humanity is to have all of these open. It will happen as a race, just not in 2024 or 2044 or 2064. It will happen eventually. So when all of these chakras are open, it creates portals in the mind, and access to everywhere and everything is easy. The chakras they turned on in me are to improve my ability to travel to other planets, to help me tune in better to those frequencies and see, hear, and feel more while I am there. This is an incremental improvement. The human body and mind could not tolerate all chakras being opened at once. Too much incoming data that we are not used to is overwhelming. So you remember, they barely turned on a couple chakras in my head, and I was seeing a physical ring projected onto my physical space like that. So whatever would happen if they turned all of them on, it would be too much knowledge, and the matrix would probably like melt away, and our brains would explode. It's too much for us. What they told me was that autistic persons have more chakras open than most people. And so they become overwhelmed easily since they have access to more energetic information than most people do. So this is why many times they can become overwhelmed in a crowd, or they can see dead people, or they can hear their guides really clearly because they've got a lot more data to contend with than the average human. So Gio says, "Shall I show you now?" And I'm like, "What are we talking about?" And so he doesn't have a hand, but he's like reaching out his hand to me. He's reaching out his limb to me to like take his hand. And so I'm like, okay. And so I hold his hand because he's going to take me somewhere. So I'm like, okay, we're going into a vision. That's cool. I see what looks like a sun, bright and beautiful. I stretch my head back and feel something large leave my body. But here's the crazy thing. So normally, if I go like this and I lean back, a lot of times something dark will exit my throat. That is like the exit point of choice for many people, for many different kinds of entities that aren't ideal. I don't know why. I'm sure there's a reason for it. They like coming out the throat. Anyways, it wasn't a dark entity that left me for once. Something really big, not dark. And when it left me, it felt euphoric. It felt like pleasurable. It felt good. It felt happy. It felt like freedom. And so I'm like asking Gio all these questions to try to figure this out. And I find out that my soul has left my physical body. So when I got that bright light and I went like this, my soul left my physical body. So let me explain this. Because people can do this. I obviously wasn't willingly trying to do it. When you do that, you have guardian angels that are lined up with your energy always to keep your body alive, to make sure you're not stepping in front of a bus, to make sure you're breathing when you're supposed to be breathing. They're already in your body. So if your soul wants to leave, they're like, that's cool. I'll breathe for you. I'll keep you alive. And we do this when we sleep a lot. Soul leaves the body, soul goes to learn, soul goes to play. Guardian angel keeps the body alive. So what tripped me out though is that my soul was so freaking happy to leave my body that I felt it. It was like so joyful. I was like, oh yes, finally I get to leave the body. I'm just like, geez. And so I was freaking out because I was bilocating. I was fully aware of what my soul was doing, and I was fully aware of what my body was doing. And so I could kind of switch back and forth because I couldn't really balance both of them really well. I could kind of switch back and forth to tune into what's going on over here, what's going on over there. And it was kind of a trip because when I would tune into my body, it felt like a male because I have a male guide who's in my body. And I'm like, this is weird. And so I'm like, Gio, why are we doing this? And he's like, this happens every time you travel to another planet, but now you can detect it. So when I say travel to another planet, this is whenever I am tuning into the energy of somewhere other than Earth, it's considered like shamanic journeying. It's my soul moving through time and space and the ether and whatever, the realms, to go. My soul is going to these locations. That's not something I realized. It's not something I thought about. Who thinks about these things? The only reason I can detect it now is, remember, they tweaked all my chakras. So now I'm aware of it and I'm just like, I cussed at him. I mean, not at him. I said, this is effing weird. I was like, this is a lot. because the brain doesn't like it when stuff like this happens. As you can imagine, you're like, okay, I'm the brain, I have the body, but the soul's over there. The brain does not like that at all. Geo says the mind does not like having its reality challenged, which is the truth. Because the mind is like, this is reality, physical is reality. So when it's like, oh shoot, the soul's over there, really messes up things. Feywanel took, oh, this is so crazy. So Feywanel is my guardian angel who's lined up with my body, and he takes this deep breath in and out, right? Because he's in control of the body. So he does this deep breath in and out to give my body more oxygen, to give my brain more oxygen, to calm me down. Because I'm like, this is effing weird. Why are we doing this? And Feywanel's like, I will take good care of it, meaning the body. He's like, I will take good care of it. I always do. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. And then so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go check out my soul, right? Because that's weird. That's separate. I want to go investigate. And so I'm tuning into my soul, and I can tell my soul is basically nothing like me because I associate with whatever person, and this is the same for you, whatever like personality you have selected in this lifetime and what you look like and all this fun stuff. That's how you behave. That's your little personality identity. It's all false. But that's the ego. That's what the mind associates with who you are. That soul over there was not me. It was something else, right? My soul is a yellow glowing mass. She is joyful and uninhibited and presents with female energy. I do not recognize myself in her. She is much more fearless, sovereign, and wild than me. She is content and whole. I see her as wearing she's wearing like a strapless dress. Long strapless dress. There's like glitter on the dress. There's like glitter on her face. No shoes. Loose, wavy hair. Her hair's kind of messy. She kind of looks like a fairy without wings, to be honest. She does not care what anyone else thinks. She knows exactly what she wants and what she likes. And so I'm just like, so that was a trip because my soul, I don't know her. Like I was like, who are you? Like I was hoping to be like, oh, it's me. It's like what I thought I was or something. Instead, I'm like, oh, she's crazy. Don't mess with her. Okay. So Geo takes my soul through a wormhole. And so this is apparently something we do. I've never seen it before. I don't see all these intermediate steps when I'm doing traveling to see other places. They just take me there. So now they're showing me all the details. So he takes me through a wormhole. It's like this invisible tunnel. Everything is like black night sky with white stars. And we're moving to a different location. So I asked him, I'm like, are you taking me to Elnath? Because that's where the golden mantids are, since he's a golden mantid. And he says, yes. The planet itself looks gold from above. So we're like, there's like black night sky and we can see the planet before we're like actually physically on it. And it's just kind of gold looking, kind of yellowish gold. And I was like, do you have any oceans? And he's like, yes. And I was like, I don't see any blue. And then he doesn't say anything. And I'm like, what? Are they gold? And he's like, yes. And I'm like, what? So his energy smiles. And we're like on this beach. And the sand kind of has a golden kind of color to it. And there's like golden water kind of lapping up on the shore. And I'm like looking at the sand. The sand is like the color of sand, but it also has these little flecks of like metallic gold in the sand, and it kind of gives it a gold color. I put my hand, so I was like freaking out about the ocean. So as soon as I got there, I was like sticking my hands in the water and kind of like lifting up the water. Because the water kind of just looks clear when you're like holding it, but it kind of looks gold when you're looking down at it. So it's almost like the way I guess the ocean looks blue, but if you scoop up some ocean, it's not blue in your hand, it's just clear. But I was messing around with the ocean because I was just blown away that it looked gold. Um, it's a mystery to me, and so I touch it over and over again, trying to understand. So I'm in the water. Geo's behind me on the sand, and he's watching me and his energy because they can't smile. Their faces don't have facial expressions. They communicate in telepathy, so nothing on the face moves, but his energy is smiling at me. He's like enjoying watching me be all curious like a kid and being like, oh, touching the golden ocean. And so I look at myself and I look like a mantid now, a darker gold than Geo with some bronze on me. And so I'm like, are you coming? Because I'm in the water. He's like on the shore. I'm like, are you coming in the water with me or what? Um, and so he moves into the water. And then I see myself, I go under the water. So weird. I go under the water. The water's not very deep. I'm only, I don't know, maybe it's like 2 feet deep, this deep ish. Um, And so I go under the water, and in the sand under the water, I'm like digging around with my appendages. I'm like, what am I looking for? What am I doing? And I locate a piece of gold. So it appears to have been the way it looks is if whenever you find raw copper, and I don't have an example, but when you find raw copper, it has this appearance where it's kind of smooth and almost looks beaded sometimes. Um, And so that's how the gold looked. The gold looked like it had been liquid at one point and then cooled into like a little formation. And so I pick it up and I show it to him, and he takes me out of the water again by my hand, and we go up this. There's like only a little bit of sand. Couple steps of sand, and then there's this little tiny hill, not very tall, and there is a house, like this little tiny bungalow little house that's on the beach. And oh, this place. So the house is nearly empty. It's just got like these white sheer curtains that are kind of like blowing around on all the windows because the windows are open and the wind is blowing. I've seen this place before. So the first time I met Geo, he took me to this location. And the only thing I remember from it is that well, I have it written down somewhere and I did a video on it at some point, but I remember he took me to this beach house and it was super peaceful. And I remember he was cross legged, like he was meditating, but he was levitating. He was like up at the ceiling, cross legged. And that's kind of the thing I remember the most about the vision. Um, so I'm in the same house again now. And I go over to one of the windows and I put this piece of gold in the window. And it's like I put it in the windowsill, and there are already three other pieces of gold in the window. And so each of them are a different shape. And as soon as I did it, I was like, ooh, I can tell this means something. Each one of these pieces of gold is symbolic or like represents something. And so I was like, is this like lifetimes together? Like this is something. I'm not sure, but it is emotional and it spans a lot of time. Is all I could tell because this house feels super familiar to me. But remember, all our memories are wiped out clear, so I don't know why it's familiar. but there's something going on there. And so Geo says, this will be your 4th lifetime here. And so I'm like, so I'm living a lifetime there on Elnath in this beach house right now? And he said, yes. And I just felt like emotional pain when he said it because I was tuning into whoever I am in that lifetime. Probably that mantid I saw. And so I said, this is a lifetime. Like, I choose to incarnate on Elnath at this beach house when I am recuperating from difficult lifetimes. So I say it to him as a question, but really I'm like, this is what I feel. I know it's true. I just need you to validate it. So he's like, yes. It is such a quiet, beautiful existence at this beach house and on this beach. It almost feels impossible for there to be somewhere so peaceful and beautiful, and then also get to be around somebody like Geo, who is Jesus's soul. So he's like the most beautiful, calm soul to be around. And then I'm like, okay, this kind of makes sense because 7th dimensional planets are often used for recovery lifetimes or lifetimes where you've had a lot of traumatic stuff happen and you need to incarnate and kind of process some stuff and chill out for a little bit before you go back to a difficult lifetime again. And so apparently I go to this location when I need to decompress for a bit. When I look at the other pieces of gold sitting in the windowsill, my heart aches badly. I was recovering from dark experiences with those. And so I'm shown some of what was going on in the lifetimes prior to me incarnating there. And so um, I was shown murders and I was shown losing everyone and everything. I was shown really, really tough lifetimes. I can recall what my soul felt like. There was nothing left of me. I felt black and empty. Geo's soul, being around him, repairs me bit by bit. His love heals unhealable things. His soul is Yeshua's. I am crying while I'm writing this, and he validates that it is pain from those past lifetimes that is still unprocessed. I come here after I have played dark roles, after I have been the one to murder. When I look at the sky there on Elnath, I get the impression, and this is crazy, I get the impression that there's no time or that time is frozen. And I'm like, I know we spend really long periods of time here. Perhaps, I'm like, maybe it's longer than a lifetime. Maybe it's hundreds of years that we spend there in order for me to recover. And Geo says, however long that you need. And then I thought about it. So 7D planets are completely different than every other planet that you can think of. So on a 7D planet, being in a body is optional. So you can like switch in and out of a body as often as you like. But also you kind of choose when you die. So if you want to live for like 500 years, that's no problem. You can live for 500 years. And if the body you're in is starting to like wear down for whatever reason, you can just grab another one. So, so that's why I'm like, I can tell we spent a really long time here. And it's like, do you need 900 years to get over what just happened? That's cool. We'll stay here for 900 years. And because souls can duplicate, I can have a lifetime. I can have a 900-year lifetime with Geo or Jesus or whoever I want, and everyone else can still have access to duplicates of them as well. So this is me talking about the beach house. It is an isolated place, though Geo tells me there are others here. And then I see myself. I'm like outside. I'm laying on the sand. Like I'm laying on my stomach on the sand. And I'm like looking really closely at the top of the sand and just examining it. Let's see. Just thinking. Lots of still time. This is why the house is so empty. So this is a place I go that forces me to think, that forces me to be quiet and still. Because there's not a ton of furniture or like stuff to do in the house. The house is pretty much empty. It's pretty much like this is a building to shelter you from the elements, but there's even if you come in the house, it's a very quiet and still house. This is about healing. The sun is comforting here. It is just the right temperature to feel like a hug. It never gets too hot. Recovery is slow, but it doesn't matter. There is no time, or there is infinite time. There's no reason not to be still. No reason not to take all the time in the world. And so while I'm like stomach down on the sand, because I'm just like looking really closely at every little grain of sand, there's like this black beetle that looks like a stag beetle. And he just kind of walks by on the sand. And I was just his feet, how do I say it? I don't know. So sometimes you think bugs that their legs are going to be like little sticks, right? But on the tips of all his feet, it kind of came out like a foot almost. And so I was really into watching him walk on the sand because I was watching his little feet. Um, so he's just real gently crawling across the sand, and I'm watching him. And Geo says, watching that beetle, is healing too. Enjoying the life of this beetle is valuing life, and that is healing. So you gotta imagine if I'm like, I guess it doesn't even matter. I could have come off of a lifetime of murdering someone, could have come off of a lifetime where my whole family was murdered. Either way, me sitting there and taking joy in this little beetle walking across the sand, that was healing. And so I'm asking Geo now, I said, did one of my like duplicates just finish a dark lifetime? Is that why I'm taking a fourth lifetime here? Because clearly I'm still in this lifetime. And so he told me this time is for deeper repairs, the things not healed during the other times. The more you heal, the more you can ascend. You still have doubts, and you still have judgment for yourself. The progress you make here with me, I will connect you to it in your physical body on Earth. So let's talk about that, because the point of us having all these duplicate souls living parallel lives somewhere else, the whole point of having it is so that the higher self is getting lots and lots of experiences, lots of knowledge, lots of opportunities for healing. Because why not? They can make as many duplicates of themselves as they want. So why not spread yourself out all over in hopes that you'll make progress more quickly and you'll have more lots of diverse experiences, right? But the rule is that you have to die and your soul has to go back to the higher self and download their experiences into the higher self before the higher self gains the wisdom, before the higher self can distribute the wisdom back to all of the duplicates. That's the normal rule. Geo just told me one of your duplicates is here to heal. As they heal, I'm going to update me. So even though that duplicate is still alive, they're going to give me the progress in real time. And I'm like, what? Geo's energy smiled at me because I was like, I thought we had to die first. And so I'm explaining it to him, like how I understand it. And he just smiles at me. He is breaking rules. I can feel it. He's making an exception for me. And so I was like, you must need to heal these blocks pretty badly. Like all these blocks I have in me. I'm like, there must be a point to this. Like, you wouldn't do this just for kicks. I said, you must have some big plans for me that I'm not aware of yet. Because if they need me to be in a better position to do something to help, and I'm not there yet, they might, that might, that would explain why they're trying to give me a loophole to help me out just enough for me to accomplish whatever it is they want me to do. And so he says yes. And I'm like, so that kind of stresses me out. I'm like, oh, big things planned. I felt like I was hoping the big part of the big things was over with because humans hate change and it's scary. But I told him, I'm like, for the record, I'm happy about it, but I'm also scared. And he asked me, ready to go back to your body now? And I was like, not really. I was like, you take me to paradise. It's nice here. The vibration's high. I'm on a beach. I'm with you. Why would I want to go back to 3D? I'm like, if we keep doing this, my willpower is gonna like give out at some point, and I'm just gonna be like, no. My soul's just gonna stay here on this beach. And so he says, I will always help you back. You want to go back. You want to finish this work. It makes you happy. And I'm just like thinking about it, and I was like, if time was limited, I would not go back. But since we have unlimited time, fine, I'll go back. And then, later in the future, I can always come back to this beach or whatever, be relaxed. So he takes my hand and works on my palm chakras. And now remember, I don't even have a hand because I'm also a mantid. So I'm like, but he's like working on my palm chakra still. You would think it was to improve my healing ability, but I can tell it's not for that. It is comforting. It is him combining a piece of his energy in mine. Oh my God, he just said something to me. I'll tell you in a second. Okay, hold on. I don't want to cry. Okay. Dang it. Okay. So he was putting a piece of his energy into my palm chakra, which doesn't sound like a big deal. But let me tell you what I wrote. He did it to connect us, to make me feel his energy always. And then I could feel it. It was like starting to move up my palm chakra and it was like getting to my shoulder. And I knew eventually it would go to my heart. And I'm like, oh, I'll probably cry whenever it gets to my heart. I hug Geo, but it's not Geo. He is creator. He is everything. So I go to hug his energy and I'm like, this is not just Geo. This is like flipping through everybody I've ever known. It was like, I'm hugging Michael. I'm hugging Raphael. I'm hugging like everybody. So I was like, okay, this is creator. Let me tell you what he said to me. There's this, I have a Christian background. So I have like knowledge of the Bible floating around in my brain somewhere. He just said something to me. So when I was retelling this story, and I was like, he put his energy in my palms. In my mind, I was thinking, this is like a tattoo. Like he's marking my palms. And he made a reference to a Bible verse. I don't want to, let me see if I can look it up. See if I can pull it. Behold, gosh. So Isaiah 49:16. Behold, I have engraved you on the palm of my hands. And so It's reverse. So it's instead of the Bible verse saying that my name is written on God's palm, it's him putting his name on my palm kind of thing. It's just like this is a tattoo that I have with my cousin, right? So we have matching tattoos. It's just like a matching tattoo. It signifies connection and importance of that person or energy in your life. So he's putting his name on my palms. Ay ay ay. So I'm going back to my notes, and so I hugged him, basically goodbye, even though he felt like creator. Um, I'm ready to go back to my body. My mantis, and so this was weird too. So I'm ready to go back to my body, and so it's just like the matrix just like disappears, right? Except it's me, not the matrix. It's my body dissolved. So I was a mantid. My mantid body dissolves, and I'm just that yellow glowing soul again. I return back through the wormhole to my planet. So I go back through the wormhole. I go back in my body. It was super not dramatic going back in my body, by the way. I've had that happen one other time. And last time when I went back in my body was like pop, like my eyes popped open and it was like really dramatic. And this time it wasn't. I was like, is the soul back in? I can't tell. Nothing crazy happened. Um, so this is the end of that experience. I hope there was parts of it that you could take away for yourself. Um, I have a surprise. We now have Mantid activations available. So if you are interested in working with one of these phenomenal Mantid guides, um, the activations are designed to attune your energy to theirs. And it's also designed to give me a chance to channel a message from one of your Mantid guides or the Mantid collective. Um, in order to provide that to you. So if that's something you're interested in, I will be including a link to that service in the description. Other than that, that's what I have for you guys today. I will see you next time. Bye bye.